Veritas Files here. Guys, I apologize for the dimly lit atmosphere, but I didn't have any other place to do the video, and I'm gonna do a video that it's sort of a drag. It's not gonna make me any friends. I mean, I suppose that's okay, but at the same time, I'm not trying to make enemies either. I'm just trying to be real. And some of these things just have to be said because I believe they're true, and that's unlikely to change because um, I regularly test the things that I believe, and I'm one of these guys that does a lot of research on stuff, and so I don't adopt views easily, and I don't adopt them for no good reason. And yeah, this is gonna involve talk about religion, all the kind of things that can get me in trouble with YouTube and whatever. But and I'm not going to go into excruciating detail because the video would be hours long if I did something like that. But I get a lot of people that contact me, and they're very excited. They're very excited, but they are a little different than I am. I am a Christian, and they often think of themselves as a Christian of sorts, either culturally or maybe they're from a what used to be termed a cult. I don't want to use that term because it's a little rude. Um, People think of that almost as a religious slur, and I'm not here trying to do that, but I am here trying to um, shed a little light on things. Um, so let's just say they're a Jehovah's Witness or they're a Mormon or something like that, or RLDS or whatever, and they want to lock arms in some way, and that's awesome because I fully support that. That you don't have to be a Christian to lock arms with me. You just have to be um, of an overlapping worldview, right? And for example, Mormons and Christians have a lot of worldview overlap, right? Most Mormons, because a majority of them actually don't, and this is true of Christians too, really. A majority of them don't understand that much about their own faith. They actually think of themselves as Christians, and they use all of the same Christian words, um, but they don't actually believe what Christians believe at all. Not at all. Not in any real way at all. And let me explain just a little bit. Um, in Mormon belief and doctrine, they believe God is a created being. So the very nature of God himself is entirely different than a Christian conception, which is that God is an uncreated and eternal being. He never had a beginning, right? That's classic Christian belief. If you don't believe that, you're probably not a Christian, right? And I don't mean I'm being a little sarcastic. You're not a Christian if you don't believe that. Um, but anyway, because a lot of people that contact me, they don't really know that much. They're all excited. I sometimes find myself in uncomfortable conversations. So it's one of the reasons I'm doing this video. I don't mind if you want to lock arms. I don't mind if you want to develop a friendship. That is fantastic. But you're going to know where I stand, okay? I'm always going to want people, regardless of who they are, to believe the truth, okay? Because I mean, we talk about prepping, we talk about precious metals, and I'm just going to tell you straight up, that stuff is important, but relative to where you will be after this life is over, it is almost zero. I mean, it is infinitely more important where you will be post death in this world, right? It's a proven fact that there is a conscious existence after death. That's not even a debatable point. If you do any research into NDEs, that's Nathan David Edward. Those are near death experiences. Um, you will find that they have verified literally thousands of post death, essentially They had no vital signs whatsoever, and they were having conscious experiences outside of their body and viewing and seeing things that could not be seen from any vantage point that they could have had from their body. I can remember one case of somebody reporting a serial number on a light that was above the operating table that they would have had to get on a ladder to even see, and they happened to see and remember that number. They told the doctors looked, and it was right. There was other reports of people seeing things on the roof of a building that they were in, or on outside the window on the ledge, or in some cases other places in the country, right? These are verified things that people have looked at and looked into extensively, to be able to prove that in fact there was a conscious existence post their body being determined to have been dead, right? They did, in fact, resuscitate and come back to life. So maybe you could say they're not dead in a certain sense, because death entails not coming back. But they were, in fact, dead, clinically speaking. Okay? Given that, there's decisions that you have to make. One is probably don't be an atheist, right? Because it looks like there's something after this life, okay? Atheism probably wouldn't be your best bet, okay? Now, in my case, I'm a Christian. I'm always going to want anybody I'm dealing with to be a Christian if I care about you at all. And you really need to think of it in that sense. Don't think of it in the sense that, oh, he thinks he knows everything. Oh, he's intolerant, blah, blah, blah. Nonsense. It's not about being intolerant at all. It's because I care about people. I don't want you to go and pay for your own sins, right? I would rather you have somebody else pay for them for you, because that's been offered to you. And that's available through Jesus Christ, right? Now, like I said, Mormons talk about Jesus Christ, but Jesus Christ is a different person in Mormonism. He's the spirit brother of Lucifer. He's a created being. He's not a created being in Christianity. Now, he did become incarnate, but again, he became incarnate. He always existed. He's God, right? That's the other thing. Christians believe in a triune God, right? So, 3 who's, 1 what? 3 distinct centers of consciousness that share one single essence. Monotheism. One God revealed in 3 persons. Now, does that make sense? It's weird. So, in a certain sense, no. But it's not contradictory in any sense. It's simply odd. It's literally, utterly odd. There's no analog that you can come up with that, if you press it too far, won't go into some sort of heresy, right? It won't take you off the reservation with regard to Christianity. But anyway, I'm just pointing out that I am a Christian in the sense that I actually believe what Christianity teaches. I'm not a Christian in the sense that I'm an American, therefore I'm a Christian, or I go to church, therefore I'm a Christian. Those kinds of things don't make you a Christian. Lots of people go to church. Many, many people go to church. And I would venture to say, I don't know, it's between them and God as to whether or not they're actually Christians, but I would say probably less than half of the people that attend church are even Christians in any significant sense. They may go to church. They may believe that a God exists. But have they been transformed by the gospel of Jesus Christ? Have they been transformed by the indwelling of the Holy Spirit? Probably not. In most cases, that's not true, because if you look at the views of people that go to church, most of them do not have any sort of a robust Christian worldview. And if you don't have any sort of robust Christian worldview, probably I would have low level of confidence if I were in your shoes, right? If you're not viewing things through the eyes of a Christian, that's a problem. Now, if you're a brand new Christian and you're not viewing things through the eyes of a Christian yet, that's understandable. Growth and sanctification, those kind of things take time. Justification, becoming a Christian, being saved, believing in Jesus Christ, following Jesus Christ, those things are, that can happen quickly, right? That's a decision. but the growth that accompanies that is a long process. Anyway, guys, I'm making this video to let people know where I stand. I don't like the uncomfortable conversations. I don't like, and I don't. I'm not trying to tell anybody that they're bad people. Probably most of the people that I meet online are probably better people than me. Certainly, every Mormon that I have known, everyone that I personally have known, wonderful people, very nice people, probably much more moral than I am. I don't know, but they seem to be great people. And they certainly seem better than me. So it's not about that. For me, it's about what is true. What is reality, right? And reality doesn't come from how you feel about it or burning in the bosom or whatever, the kinds of things that a Mormon might tell you with regard to their own scriptures, the Pearl of Great Price, the Book of Mormon, things like that. Reality is objective. There are facts in the world, and they are either true or false. If they're true, you want to believe them, right? If they're false, you want to reject them. And if you are not a Christian, if you're just a cultural Christian, in other words, you think of yourself in that way, but you're not really a Christian, that's fine. But I'm always going to want or encourage you to go all the way, come full circle with that. If you're a Jehovah's Witness or something else, Scientologist or Mormon, my perspective is you really ought to look into the claims of Jesus Christ. You really ought to avail yourself of that rescue because it's the only one available, and stop believing what is false. And if you need that demonstrated, all the falsehood can be demonstrated in all of those areas. The biggest problem with religion is false religion. And it is everywhere because ultimately it ends up being a rationalization for us staying where we are and refusing to bend the knee to the creator of the universe. Okay? That's ultimately all that false religion is, period. Again, all of these things have been demonstrated, whether you want to look at Islam or you want to look at Buddhism or Hinduism or Mormonism or even Judaism, where they rejected their Messiah. All of these things can be demonstrated. Now, does that mean everybody will give their assent and believe what is true? No, most people won't because they don't want to, right? Again, salvation is something that God accomplishes in your heart. It's not something that is just going to happen because you happen to be exposed to the truth. Okay, I can tell you whatever I want, but if you're not open to it, if you're not really willing to look at it, and God's not doing work in your life, there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do. You have to want to know the truth. That's what your life needs to be about. I want to know what's true, and I'm going to pursue it. And if that's not where you are, if you're not into finding out what's actually the case, what's really true about reality, about the world, about life, then yeah, you're going to go on and do whatever you're going to do. The problem with that is at some point there's a reckoning. At some point there's a payment that has to be made, restitution that has to be made, because there is a life after this life. And in my experience, it is eternal conscious existence. It will never end. And in that eternity, you will either be enjoying the presence of God or you will be enjoying his punishment for the deeds that you have done. And every one of us, if we are honest, we understand that we fall short of perfection. And that is what is required to make it into God's presence. If you don't have perfection to put on, the blood of Jesus Christ, for example, if you don't have that covering for you, if you don't opt to take that rescue, it's entirely on you. You're going to make restitution, and making restitution for an infinite being who is utterly perfect will be forever.